Hey, how's it going, guys? I haven't made a video in probably over 2 years, but today we have some very exciting packages. That is the XPR-3, otherwise known as the semi-automatic portable railgun. Been working on that for about 2 years. Yes, it works. Yes, the videos are coming. It takes a while. This, though, is what I'd like to show you today. This is the last piece I need to complete another interesting project I've been working on recently. These are nylon screws. I'll show you why I need those. NSA list buy, you say. What possible use could you ever have for nylon screws? Again, nothing special, these are just plastic screws. I need these for this. This is a 12-watt class 4 infrared laser. This is enough to burn wood, cardboard, whatever. This is roughly as much power as that laser bazooka, but in a much smaller form factor. And it is rigged onto a Peltier chip and this big aluminum heatsink. Alright? The heatsink is grounded. It is all grounded to negative, right? This laser, the case of this laser is actually positive. If you look carefully, you see a little symbol there. You can see that positive wire goes onto this positive terminal, and that's directly connected to the case. The negative, the ground, is actually isolated. So what I need to do is I need to isolate this block from this heatsink, and I also need to clamp it onto the Peltier chip to keep it cool. Peltier chip is no problem, it's electrically insulated, got some thermal grease on there. Probably need a little bit more before I really mount this thing, but this is no problems here. But this guy, if I were to use regular screws, the metal on the screws would touch the top of this, and then they would screw into this ground plate, and you'd have a short through the screws. So what I need is something non-conductive, like these guys, to physically secure this laser onto this heatsink without making an electrical connection. So that's what I'm going to do now. Alright, so this thing's pretty much completed. You got the battery down there, fan on the back, and you got your switch here. Essentially what this does is this switch turns on the power from the battery and directs it into this buck controller, and this reduces the voltage from 12 volts down to 2 volts, and that goes into the laser. The laser accepts a very low voltage, very high amperage. There's big cables. And the lens, I had a lens on here, did not work very well. I don't think this lens is rated for the infrared light, or else, you know, maybe it works fine, but I'm just not an optics expert. Doesn't matter. This thing was not focusing very well, so I'm gonna have to do something with the optics. But the Peltier is working pretty well. It's keeping this guy nice and cool. This buck controller is getting mighty hot, probably because it's reducing. You know, there's such a huge voltage difference between the battery and the laser. This thing's working its butt off, but it's doing okay. It's below its rated, below the rated current, so no problems there. And it's working. And this guy's staying nice and cool, which is really the part I'm concerned about. I picked this guy up in 2012 for about 50 bucks. These days, these modules go for around 200, so I was very lucky to get one for the price I got it at, and they're very nice. So I probably couldn't afford one of these guys if I had to buy it today. And I finally got it working. And as you can see, these things are pretty powerful. They're not super crazy. Let me just demonstrate. Alright guys, so before we get started, I'm just going to talk about eye protection here. Very important. Before I test this laser, I looked up the absorption spectra for a welding lens, and as you can see, the welding lens absorbs everywhere from really 450 to 450 to around 780 nanometers, and we know that this laser is 808 nanometers, so the laser is going to be completely blocked by this welding lens. And so that's why I feel pretty confident that, you know, if I wear this welding helmet, it should be pretty safe. Welding mask on, so hopefully. Because I'm afraid of this lens getting smoked up, and the power on this thing is so great that if there's any dirt on that lens at all, it could start to heat up the fiber optics, which could really ruin the laser, because this is a fiber coupled laser. And if there's any dirt at all on the end of that fiber coupling, it could destroy the end and destroy the focus. That's just not good. So again, I'm going to need to work on my optics to try and get this thing working well. But we'll see. It's a pretty nice laser. You can burn stuff with it. So you can see this screw is pretty melted. Let me just turn this guy on one more time. Show you. So it's pretty well melted. It's this guy. I'm trying to figure out something cool to do with it. It is a portable, fiber laser, but you can't really see the beam. It's not the most exciting thing in the world. If this lens had worked, maybe it'd be a little bit cooler, because then you could have like a nice beam that you could kind of play with and burn stuff from across the room. But right now, it's kind of not the most useful thing in the world.